internal candidates are normally, in most organizations, would be considered for succession planning, that is to fill up the higher vacancies, and at the entry level, it will be from outside the organization. Now, there are certain steps in succession planning, that is identifying and analyzing key jobs, creating and assessing candidates, and selecting those who will fill the key positions. I think here we went a little further and said that internal candidates has got its own advantages and disadvantages that we have already listed. And the next thing would be how to get candidates from outside. Now, one of the most important source is advertising. That is the selection of media, as to which media you are going to select. And it depends on the position for which the firm is recruiting. For example, if it is recruiting for the lower position, it will not advertise in the trade journal. Or if it is lower staff, it may prefer to go for a vernacular press if local area people are to be attracted. But for managerial positions, obviously, they will go for newspapers, be that local or specific labor market, or that will be national dailies, whichever is there. Similarly, trade and professional journals are also one of the sources, but mostly for higher positions that has to be filled. Then we said that it is internet job sites can be there, and marketing programs can also be there. Similarly, constructing an effective ad, we said, is an art where it should be very, very clear, and it should evoke the applicant's attention, interest, desire, and action that is important in this regard. This is all that we have already seen on the last term. Now, then we also talked about employment agencies, whether it is public agencies, which I said in most cases has become defunct, or private agencies, which are very much popular these days, that we have already looked at. And we also said as to when the agencies are being basically considered by the organization. And then we also defined about the temporary staff, or staff who are not on the roles of the organization, but on the roles of the agencies, which are temp employees we looked at. And we went into the details of this particular thing. And then we, I think, also looked at offshoring, outsourcing, white collar, and other jobs, where a specific issue in outsourcing jobs abroad is there. We said that there are certain agencies, even in India, which is outsourcing people to outside. And that is dependent on political and military instability. If there is an instability, then that will be considered. Likelihood of cultural misunderstandings, customer security and privacy concerns, foreign contracts, liability and legal concerns, social training and foreign employees, and costs associated with companies supplying foreign workers which are there. Then outside sources of candidates, where executive recruitments or headhunters has to be looked at, where special employment agencies retained by employers to seek out top management talent for their clients, that is contingent-based recruitments, collect a fee for their services when a successful hire is completed, and retained executives searches are paid regardless of the outcome of the recruitment positions. Now, then we also said that internet technology and specialization trends are changing how candidates are attracted and now surged, that is there. Now, how to choose a recruiter? Make sure the firm is capable of conducting a thorough search, meet the individual who will actually handle your assignment, ask how much the search firms charges. Because charges are very, very important. In certain cases, charges, if it is exorbitant, an organization cannot
afford it, obviously it will not go for it, irrespective of what is their position. Then we also have on-demand recruiting services, which is there, a service that provides short-term specialized recruiting to support specific projects without expenses of retaining traditional search. Outside source of candidates, that is, we know that campus recruitment or college recruiting is quite popular. Now, we have got to look at the goals to determine if the candidate is worthy of further consideration and to attract good candidates. Now, we know the process as to how campus recruitment normally takes place. There are two-way communication in campus recruitments. And number one is the firms are approached by the colleges, mostly B grade and C grade colleges, or even some of the A grade colleges. They approach the employers, they send them their brochures, they send them their e-files of the eligible students who are going to seek employment, or sometimes it is the organizations which approach the colleges and ask them for a spreadsheet detail of the candidates. Now, upon receiving that, they normally do headhunting into it. They go into the details, and if it is required, they shortlist those candidates, and then or they fix up a date as to when they can visit the campus. In campus, normally screening process is being done, followed by further process of recruitment and selection that takes place. So now the whole objective is that if they go to the organizations or institutions, they feel that they will be able to attract good candidates in the campus. Now, on-site visit, we said, would be invitation letters would be there from either side. Now, they assigned hosts as to who is going to look after them. Then information package will be provided. Planned interviews will be there. Timely employment offer will be made, and then follow-up action. Sometimes we also do it for internships, that is short-term training which is there. Then outside source, we also find referral as one of the outside sources, where referring employees becomes stakeholders, and referral is a cost-effective recruitment programs. These referrals can be made by the internal employee. It can be made by eminent persons. It can be made by the referrals can be made by the director themselves. When they move around and find some people, they refer them to the organization for further consideration. Then we see, if you look at this referral type of recruitment, for example, if you look at the premier institutions in India, for example, IIMs, how do they recruit? Have you seen advertisement of these IIMs? I'm talking about the top earlier ones. Now, of course, some of them have advertised, but normally they do not send an advertisement. They have got the principles of referral, where a candidate normally approach them, and or they have met them in a conference or a seminar or anywhere, and then the person is referred to the institution. They present a seminar or two. They meet the staff members of that institution, including the director, and upon the recommendation, that is the referral of these faculty members, that the candidate is considered for the position in that particular institution, and then they get an appointment letter based on the interaction that has taken place, which normally takes about 3 to 4 days of interaction.
But sir, this referral method of recruitment, it can also lead to practice of certain unfair means, because in this case, people who are at higher position can use their authority to recruit someone from their family or someone who is asking for a favor from them.
My dear, forget about the malpractices. The thing is that I said when this referral takes place, the prospective employee is supposed to meet a large number of officials of the organization, and it is the recommendation of all officials is taken into account. So if it is 1 or 2 persons, then nepotism can be there. But once you are saying in the referral large number of people are there, they try and meet them, they try and discuss with them, and then they are considered. It's not 1 person or 2 person where this nepotism can take place. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Right. Then we also have, system which is called walk-ins, where you said that walk-in interview details are being given in the dailies. Direct applicants who seek employment with or without encouragement from other sources, and their courteous treatment of any applicant is a good business practices. Now, normally what happens, I tell you, even in the campuses when the teams visit, the persons who are responsible for hosting them, they interact with them, they look after them. I've not seen them being interviewed by them in detail, because based on their interaction, these people are being considered in large number of cases. That is where courteous treatment I'm referring to, which takes place. Similarly, we also have recruiting via the internet. More firms and applicants are utilizing the internet in the job search process, because people put their CVs and details on the net, and if any organization is looking for it, they would try and find out if they can be done. Now, advantages of internet recruiting would be cost-effective way of publicizing job openings. More applicants are attracted. There will be immediate applicant responses. Online pre-screening of applicants will take place. Link to other job searches sites will also be there, and automation of applicant tracking and evaluation will become easier. You see here selected recruitment websites that master.com, or you go to Career Builder, or I said you go to other sites that is there, Naukri.com, etc. And they are basically looking at this kind of thing. Now, issues in recruiting or more diverse workforce. For example, if you are looking at this, it is not applicable so much to India, but it is picking up single parents, providing work and schedule flexibility, older workers, then we have recruiting minorities and women. So all these categories would be there, but in India we do not have any facilities for single parents, and that is there. But in Western countries, we do have single parents being given flexibility, plus they are also getting some tax exemptions by the governments. Then we also have got welfare work. We are developing pre-training programs to overcome difficulties in hiring and assimilating persons previously on welfare. This has been very, very common for the banks, which provides training, or which provides them, give them courses so that people from weaker section of society, people from SC/ST category, people from OBC category can compete with the other people who are better equipped in terms of education and training. We also have got disabled people for whom reservations are there, and creating facilities for
the disabled, developing resources and policies to recruit and integrate disabled person into the workforce, who has to be seen in the context of making the workplace disabled friendly.
right? We also have got some amount of reservations for them and the jobs that they can be assigned in the organizations. Now, developing and using application forms is an important step. Application forms, the form that provides information on education, prior work records, and skill. A well-developed form always seeks to get the information that the organization desires.
Because if you ask them to write an application on a plain paper, then you will get diverse kind of information, and culling that out or shortlisting will become very, very difficult.
So organization normally develops their own application form, which the employees are supposed to fill up. We also have, users of information for these applicants. Right. There were judgments about applicants' educational and experience qualifications, conclusions about the applicant's previous progress and growth, indications of the applicant's employment stability, predictions about which candidate is likely to succeed on the job. Because these applications sometimes has got columns which are normally found in application blank. Application blank is different from the normal application format, where you are supposed to write in say 100 words or 200 words or 50 words or 500 words about your suitability to the job that you are going to do, and your educational qualification, your background, so on and so forth, that you need to write down because the organization would be interested in finding out in comprehension, and that data is utilized in the interviews quite frequently. Then we have got, of course, an HR scorecard at the end, which needs to be prepared, and then we will go into the details as to how recruitment takes place. There is another concept that we need to look at here, that is the concept of succession planning. Succession planning. Just hold on, I'll just find out the transparency for you. Succession planning, where is it? Why is it not coming? Right. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Here, when organization is doing it, we will take this up at the same time before I go to recruitment process. We have got succession or a basic of career management.
Now, a career is the occupational positions a person has had over many years. That is what we call as career. Occupational positions a person has had over many years.
Now, if it is yet to begin, you have not had that long stint, it will not be called as career. Now, career management in the organizational context I'm talking about, career management is the process for enabling employee to better understand and develop their career skills and interest, and to use these skills and interests more effectively. Now, when we talk about this career development, it is the lifelong series of activities that contribute to person's career exploration, establishment, and succession that is there. We also look at the basic of career management, where career planning is very, very important. The deliberate process through which, mind it is the deliberate process through which someone becomes aware of personal skills, interest, knowledge, motivations, and other characteristics, and
establishes action plan to attain specific goals. Now, this career planning is a two-way process. It is not a one-way process.
It is the individual whose career is involved in consultation with the organizations that this career planning is being done. Now, careers are no simple progressions of employment in one or two firms with a single profession. Employees now want to exchange performance for training, learning, and development and keep them marketable, and that is important. So if it is individual, then of course we will be looking at this. Now, if you look at traditional versus career development focus, now HR activity is listed on the left side. We said human resource planning, training and development, performance appraisal, recruiting and placement. We have got compensation and benefits. Traditional focus was in the first one,
analyze jobs, skills, tasks, present and future, whereas in career management would be adds information about individual interest, preferences, and the like to data.
We have got training and development, which provided opportunity for learning skills,
information and attitudes related to job, but now it provides career path information, adds individual growth orientation, which is there, right? Similarly, if you look at appraisal, earlier it was, in the traditional focus was rating or reward, reworking or rewards, but in the career development focus would be add development plans and individual goal settings which are there, and therefore MBOs or 360 degrees appraisal system is preferred today. Similarly, if you look at recruitment and placement, it was basically matching organizations' need with qualified individuals. But today, it matches individuals and job based on number of variables, including employees' career interests. And if you look at compensation and benefits, in the traditional, it was rewards for time and productivity, talent, and so on. But now it adds non-job related activities to be rewarded, such as United Way, leadership positions, and so on and so forth. Now you have got career planning formats which are being followed. Now the roles in career development would be the individual's role, as we said, there are parties involved, to accept responsibility for your own career, assess your interests and skills and values, seek out career information and resources, establish goals and career plans, utilize development opportunities, talk with your manager about your career, and follow through on realistic career plans. These individual ones, all of you have got to be very, very careful about and remember the points that is listed, right? What is manager's responsibility? Management's responsibility to provide timely performance feedback, provide developmental assignments and support, participate in career development discussions, and support employee development plans. What about organization as a whole? Communicate mission, policies, and procedures, provide training and development opportunities, provide career information, and offer a variety of career options to the individuals. Here, the role of mentor is an important thing that takes place, because we say in order to succeed you need a godfather, but that is a negative term in sometimes. But here we in management call them not godfather but mentor. Choosing a mentor is very, very important. Choose an appropriate potential mentor.
Do not be surprised if you are turned down. Be sure that mentor understands what you expect in terms of time and advice from the mentor. Have an agenda and respect the mentor's time. So mentor and mentee relationship is very, very important. How cohesive it is, then based on that, the mentee succeeds, and we have got to remember the things that is there. What is the employer's role in career development? It is realistic job previews, challenging first jobs,
career-oriented appraisals, job rotation, and mentoring. Mind it, we said in the second point, challenging first jobs. Because if your first job is not challenging, then your
chances of success is slightly slowed down. I'll not say it is jeopardized. It will be slowed down in your career. But if you get a challenging job in the first go, then you may get on the fast track career that is there. And networking and interactions are very, very important. Because if you look at most successful people today,
right? The last point that we have listed here, networking and interactions, are the strongest point with those individuals. They do develop relationships.
They do have got people on their network, and they try and interact with them in a positive manners, give them positive vibes, discuss with them. Now, without this networking with a positive set of mind, because if it is with the selfish interest, then there is a problem. You have to have it with the open mind and then continue to utilize that networking, because you don't know when the reference will be needed from them. Innovative corporate career development initiatives would be provide each employee with an individual budget, offer on-site or online career centers, encourage role reversals, establish a corporate campus, help organize career succession team in the organization, and if possible, provide career coaches, that is important, and provide career planning workshops in the organization, and utilize
computerized on and offline career development programs, which are important. This has to be done by the organizations, and establish a dedicated facility for career development in the organizations.
Now, we said that there are candidates from within the organization for succession planning that we say. Here, we are saying how to manage promotions. Making promotion decisions, there are certain steps. The steps are, is seniority or competence the rule? That we have got to look at. Which one is rule? Is it seniority or competence, or seniority with competence? That is there.
Second decision would be, how should we measure competence? I think when we were talking about 3 C's, we looked at the competence building that is being done by the organization.
Then the third step would be, is the process formal or informal as far as promotion is concerned? And decision 4 would be, is it going to be vertical promotion, horizontal, or any other type of promotions which are there, right? Now, we also have got an issue of transfers. Employees' reasons for desiring transfer: personal enrichment and growth, more interesting jobs,
greater convenience, that is better hours of location, greater advancement possibilities, that is the employees' reasons for desiring. Now, this sometimes there are extraneous reasons as well,
that the children are, to be provided with better education facilities, and therefore they desire, right? That they should be transferred to these central cities, they should be transferred to metropolitan cities, and so on and so forth. Now, the employer's reasons for transferring employee would be to vacate a position where an employee is no longer needed, to fill a position where an employee is needed, to find a better fit for an employee within the firm, and boost the morale of the employee and fill the positions which are there. Now, enhancing diversity which are there, enhancing diversity through career management, which is also a part of this. That is sources of bias and discrimination in promotion decisions. You would be very concerned about this, I know. Having few people of color employed in the hiring department. This is, of course, not applicable here in terms of regional biases. The old boys network of internal informal friendship. Now, this old boy network works quite efficiently in terms of those premier institutions who prefer people from their own institutes which are there, and a lack of women mentors which are important. This old boy network is also quite strong in terms of the leagues. So lack of women mentors is one, lack of high visibility assignments and developmental expenses, that is the glass ceiling, and a lack of company role models for members of the same racial or ethnic group, and inflexibility is also one of the factor. Now, how to enhance women's and minorities prospect in employment?
Eliminate institutional barriers, improve networking and mentoring, eliminate the glass ceiling, institute flexible schedules and career tracks which are there. And if you look at career management and employee commitment, the new psychological contract, the old contract, do your best, and be loyal to us, and we'll take care of your career thing. This is an outdated assumption that we have listed. The new contract would be, do your best for us and be loyal to us for as long as you are here, and we will provide you with the developmental opportunities you will need to move on and have a successful career.
This says as long as you are here. In the first one, we assume that it is going to be warm to Tom.
That is not there. Now, as long as you are there, be loyal and you will be provided with everything. Now, career management and employee commitment
talks about commitment-oriented career development efforts, where career development programs
or workshops that uses vocational guidance tools, including a computerized skill assessment program, other career gap analysis tools to help employee identify career-related skills and developmental needs, and career-oriented appraisals which provides the ideal occasion to link employees' performance, career interest, and developmental needs into coherent career plans which are there.
Employability of graduates sometimes is a problem in these organizations which are there, and therefore that can also be called as,
not from the point of view of these organizations, but from the point of view of institutions, as to how to make the graduates employable would also be part of this career.
Now, retirement is yet another issue. The point at which one gives up one's work, usually between the age of 60 and 65 years in Indian condition, depending on the type of jobs. In some states, it is still 58 years, which we have in the southern states. But pre-retirement practices is explanation of social security benefits, leisure time counseling. This social security benefits in India were basically though your retirement pensionary benefits, which has been waived off, and now we have got contributory
scheme which is in operation. Financial and investment counseling is also there. Health counseling would be there. Psychological counseling is required. Counseling for second career is required, and counseling from the side of the company, that is inside the company, which has to be provided to them. Now, what we find that without this retirement counseling which is being provided, things becomes difficult for the employee who are approaching that age of superannuation.
Now, identify your career stage: growth stage,
exploration stage, establishment stage, which is trial sub-stage, stabilization sub-stage, or mid-career crisis sub-stage,
or maintenance stage, and decline stage. This is basically looking at your, career life cycle as a whole, as to where you are and what kind of efforts are needed at each stage. It is not going to be the same at all stages. It is going to be different at different stages in the life cycle of the career. One has to identify occupational orientation, that is realistic orientation, investigative orientation, social orientation, conventional orientation, and enterprising orientation, which is there. We also have got artistic orientation of some people which are there. Choose an occupational orientation. This hexagon is showing as to what it is in terms of your career. That is conventional, realistic, investigative, artistic, social, and enterprising, which are there.
Now, what we find that there are formats in which you can do that. Now, identify your career anchors. That is career anchor, a concern or value that a person you will not give up if career choice has to be made. Typical anchors would be technical, functional competence, managerial competence, creativity, autonomy, and independence and security.
Now, you know about all of them. What is creativity, by the way? Can anybody tell me what is creativity? Anybody who can tell me what is creativity?
So the concept of thinking outside the box, something like, we have different perspectives of looking at a thing. So each person will have his or her own perspective. So something like that.
See, this out of box is a jargon.
So putting up something in an attractive manner.
Any other? Any other?
The thought process.
Something like
It's the ideas.
Sir, inventiveness.
something like imagination or original ideas to create something.
Imagination. Anything else?
So the way of perception that leads to innovation, or visualization that leads to creating new things, or organizing things that is attractive in certain ways.
See, I tell you in simple terms, for a layman, if you ask as to what is, creativity, I think all of you are correct. All of you are correct. But basically, in managerial context, it is the ability to generate alternatives, right? It is the ability of an individual to generate alternatives. If you are given one ring, then in how many ways you can use that ring? How many things can you make out of a ring, right? Or if you are given a few coins, how best you can, artistically or whatever, display that out. So it is basically how many alternatives one can generate. The larger is the number of alternatives, creative alternatives one can generate, the highly creative the person will be, and vice versa is also true.
Please switch off your mic. Switch off your mic.
Right, it is basically generating alternatives that we are looking at in simpler terms as far as the managerial creativity is concerned, right? And that comes up with proactivity of the employee. Now, finding the right job, do your own local research. You have got to have personal contacts to find out, answering advertisements by going through it in detail. After analyzing,
Employment agencies to be approached and executive recruiters
to be approached, and then career counselors should be
contacted, executive marketing consultants can be consulted, and employers' websites to be seen on a regular basis. Now, this is one of the important things
that comes up, writing your resume. Now, what should be there? Because normally we spend 5 minutes for writing, some 15, 20 years of hard work that we have done. These are the, points which has to be remembered. You have to provide introductory information on the resume. You have got to have the job objectives written clearly on the resume as to what have you made this resume for. You have got to explain the job scope. Then you will go for your own accomplishments has to be listed. And then lengths that will be there. Provide personal data later on and make your resume scannable. That is important, right? It should be clear. Look at it once again. Right? So these are the points to be remembered, because all of you have got to make your resume not once, not twice. But mind it, there is no foolproof one resume that is going to be applicable for all. So resume has to be tailored according to the requirement of the job. That's what I'm saying. So do remember these points which are important for you. Now handling the interview, prepare, and prepare is the first thing. You have to be thoroughly prepared for the interview. Never take it lightly, because if you go lightly, you're going to create a bad impression. Uncover the interviewer's needs.
You have got to find out what is the interviewer's need. Relate yourself to the person's needs.
Think before answering. Do not answer once you have heard only half of the questions. And make a good appearance and show enthusiasm. Never be passive. Never use passive sentences. Always you use active voice and be on your toes. Be active in terms of responding and maintain eye contacts and so on and so forth, which are important as far as handling interviews are concerned. And one of the most important thing is to tell you here is that you must always read the mind of the interviewer. Read the mind of the interviewer and oversmart them. That is the best part of it. And that can be done through best eye contacts which are there. Think positive. Think that he should ask you the question that you know the best. And always try and spell questions, because telepathy is sometimes very, very common in the interviews that takes place. Okay? I'll continue with the topic, other topics. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
अबे जग जाओ, छोड़ो क्लास को।